Dear students, it is the third video for week 16 lecture 32, and we are discussing regional and international relations and strategies by Pakistan that created impact on sovereignty, economy, culture and tradition of Pakistan in positive or negative way. The next important organization that Pakistan became the part of was ECO. The Economic Cooperation Organization was founded by Pakistan, Turkey and Iran in 1985. The organization was established to promote scientific, cultural and technical cooperation amongst the countries and to provide a platform to discuss trade, development and investment opportunities. ECO was successor organization of the Regional Cooperation for Development RECD was established in 1964 and disbanded in 1979. The objective of this organization was to provide a single market for goods and service similar to the European Union. In 1992, 7 new members, Afghanistan, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan and Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan were allowed to join ECO. Well, this ECO, the Economic Cooperation Organization, is very important. Number one, because it is based on the ideology of Islamic unity. And the Islamic bloc or the Islamic countries wish to work like the European Union, and this is wonderful because this particular area, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Turkey and the Central Asian states, previous part of the Russia, they have the immense resources, trade opportunities, productions and a lot more. And still these organizations are working as the major footprints and the foundation stones to enhance and to promote Muslim unity in the Central Asia. Here are 2 more delicacies that these organizations were hurt when in 1979 Iranian revolution came and Iran's policies in the time of Shah Iran were converted into theological policy. Those policies were mismatched with the Islamic aspiration because this theocratic, ये जो religious state थी, इनके नज़दीक जो अरब वर्ल्ड है उनको हुकूमत करने का कोई हक नहीं है और उनसे हुकूमत छीन के दोबारे जो इमाम की हुकूमत थी उसको रिवाइव करना, और इस सिलसिले में रेवोल्यूशनरी थॉट्स को अरब वर्ल्ड के अंदर प्रमोट किया गया, जिसमें उन आइडियाज़ और ख्यालात को प्रमोट किया गया था जो कि खासे टेंशन का बायस थे। और उसका नतीजा क्या निकला, चूँकि अरब स्टेट्स में the Shiite Muslims are in majority and there rose a tension. Okay, the biggest example of these things can be seen in Middle East. Saddam Hussein in Iraq resisted these policies. He went into war against Iran because of these policies. Fine. Whereas you don't find any war or any sort of great development, military development between Iraq and Iran in time of the Shah Iran. They were there, but very little, but it promoted. In this After 2001, when the Iraqi government was toppled and Americans came in Afghanistan, there became a real tension. Iranian promoted their Iranian revolution, imperialism, and they supported the insurgents and violators in the Middle East, and resultantly, Iraq was toppled, Lebanon was toppled, a war broke in Syria, Yemen and Saudi Arabian clashed emerged, and great human casualties happened. These all the things are not hidden anywhere. And same thing, Pakistan has to be front because since Iranian government entered into close relationships with India, and the cordial relations of Pakistan became a troublesome issue because Iranian were more towards Indian and Indians started establishing their policies in Iran, and a wave of terrorism happened that was allegedly or openly supported by the then government. Kulbhushan Yadav, the target killing in Karachi, the sectarian violence throughout the country, and many others are the examples like in Iran, Iraq, Iran-Pakistan border, there is the tension clear, and establishing Shah Bihar as a parallel to the to Gawadar because Iran claims Pakistani Balochistan as his own territory, as her own territory. So these are the very delicate issues that Pakistan has faced. So these reasons became that this wonderful step again went into chaos. But now, since the scenario has changed, ab chuke waqt badal chuka hai, Chinese have reconciled Iran, Taliban has are emerging as a power, regional power. Fine, Pakistan is much free from the other American and Western policies, and he's going to be more dependent on China and Russia. And recently, Russia, China, Turkey, Central Asian states, and Malaysia is going to make another uh, regional cooperation like this one, ECO, to tackle the American interference and American influence and Israeli influence in shape of इंडिया क्लियर और अभी आप देखेंगे कि इंडिया ने अपने सबसे पुराना और बेहतरीन इत्तेहादी रशिया हैज लॉस्ट इन फेवर ऑफ अमेरिकन एंड इज ओन policies. So these countries now are developing defense ties, culture, trade, and others because through one belt, one road, China is going to connect the entire Asia and as well as the Southeast Asia through the roads and other policies. And third major organization is OIC, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, was founded in September 1969 and has 57 member countries. The OIC represents the collective voice of the Muslim countries and aims to preserve Islamic social and economic values, promote solidarity among the member states, increase cooperation in social, economic, cultural, scientific, and political areas, uphold international peace and security, and advances education. Pakistan plays a leading role in OIC, being the country with the second largest Muslim population and only Muslim country possessing nuclear weapons. Pakistan played a host to the Second Islamic Summit in 1974, advocating stronger ties between African and Asian countries. It established to promote scientific, culture, and technical uh, sorry relations. Almost in summit foremost, Bangladesh was formally recognized by Pakistan. Pakistan has always used OIC as a platform together supports for Kashmir conflict, which is also why, despite holding a large Muslim population, Pakistan has blocked India from joining OIC. Well, now OIC also had a major platform, and it was the initiative of three major leaders of the world: Shah Faisal of Saudi Arabia, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, Pakistan, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, and many others. This organization in the beginning came to be very positive, but again, the internal rivalries of the Muslim countries became hardened. And the two biggest rivalries that happened in the Muslim world, that the Muslim world is divided into two major sections. Half are following the communist bloc, I mean Russia and China, and half are in the Western bloc, like Saudi Arabia and Gulf countries. Whereas Egypt, Iran, and these countries were in the Russian bloc. Clear? Secondly, the Islamic countries are also divided in sectarian based. Fine. You see that Iran, Syria, Syrian government, clear? Iran, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen. Being the Shiites government, they have their own stance, clear? And their role in OIC Islamic organization remained very different, because Iran was always at the back to had many as aggressive policies toward the Saudi Arabia and the other countries. Iran was the leading there. Whereas Saudi Arabia, being the leader of the Arab world and Arabic speaking nations, was under the American influence, and they were against the Iranian influence. Saddam Hussein was the last Arab leader who holded the Iranian imperialism, because Iranians are doing twofold. They are taking edge of the religion, whereas internally they want to revive the old Sassanid empire. वो पुराने ईरान की जो empire है ना, जो किसी ज़माने में खुसरो परवेज़ के दौर में हुआ करती थी, they want to revive this. Whereas the people in subcontinent, they think that they are reviving the imamat of the those old imamats of the caliphs, who purani imamat revive karen. So they are the contradiction. This mess up is affecting, and it's a leading mark in the foreign policy of Iran, and directly Pakistan is affected, because Pakistan is a regional ally and a very close neighbor of Iran, because our most of the border is with Iran. But Pakistan also has some very close ties with Saudi Arabia. So Pakistan population is divided in Shia and Sunni. And furthermore, the governments that establish in Pakistan, they are also divided in the same. For example, PMLN and all of this, they are Sunni pro-governments. People P and Alliance is the Shiite pro-governments. And you find that when the PPP comes in power, the relationship with Iran and influence of the Iranians emerge. In this government, also a conglomeration, इस गवर्नमेंट में भी इसी किस्म की कुछ चीज़ें जो हैं वो सामने आ रही हैं. For example, is this Muharram, the abusing against Sahaba, clear, was very much open, and it rose tension among all the Muslim fraction in Pakistan, and the government is really not able to comprehend those. Thereby, these are the tensions when rise up the impact on the foreign policy. And Pakistan has faced a grim circumstances in war against terrorism in many fronts. The data is open to everyone. You can go and see. They were the reasons that OIC was a failure. And second important thing that OIC faced, because Indian influence in the Arab world is greater. Some of the Arab world want to make India as the member of OIC, whereas Pakistan opposes this, that since Indians are destroying people, Muslims especially in India, and they are eliminating people, Muslim people in Kashmir, they should not be allowed. And this real tension rose when Saudi Arabia wished, another world wished, when Pakistan urged the OIC to talk against India, and the OIC rejected, saying this, that it is your internal matter, कि ये इंडिया और पाकिस्तान का इंटरनल मामला है, OIC का या उम्मत मुस्लिम का मसला नहीं है. This resulted in Pakistan and Pakistan-Saudi Arabian relationship came to very hostile words in the near past. Clear? And then Turkey is emerging as a very important nation, as an economic power in Asia as well as in Europe. And in 2003, Turkey is going to claim most of the benefits, territorial and geographical benefits, and he would claim many things from this Gulf world and the Europe. Europe is pretty threatened. Thereby, uh, a new alliance is becoming against the Turkish. Clear, you find that the war on Greeks and in the Black Sea में जंगें हो रही हैं, तुर्की के खिलाफ अलायंस बन रहा है, जबकि तुर्की जो है वो पाकिस्तान, मलेशिया, चाइना, रशिया के साथ एक और अलायंस में शामिल हो चुका है. Iran is also becoming the member. So in this way, a new settlement is going to happen, and it will really divide the OIC members. It is the point to think about. Thank you very much.